Tonight on Politically Incorrect, country music superstar Wynonna, model and actress Cindy Crawford, comedian Louie Anderson, and author Martin Gross. And now, the star of Politically Incorrect, Bill Maher.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And I know why you're in a good mood. The world is breathing a little easier because the big superpower summit with China is over and the world didn't blow up. Well, you know that. Jiang Zemin was here, and he left Washington today. He was talking with Clinton, and the tension over human rights was very thick. And at one point during the state dinner, Jiang Zemin actually said to Clinton, talk to me about torture. I just spent an hour with small talk at Al Gore. So... Yes, it was a tense time back there in Washington, where we will be next week. There was all sorts of anti-Chinese protesters going on right across from the White House. They were having placards and signs. Some of them said, shame on China. Some of them said, free Tibet. One of them said, no MSG, which I thought was... Now, there is another international brouhaha going on that also could be very dangerous. Iraq, our old friend Saddam Insane, as I call him. Yeah, I coined that. Iraq is refusing to show UN inspectors their hidden missiles. And oddly, they will show them to Paula Jones. I don't understand that. Now, here is a story that breaks my heart because, as we were saying before the show, I am an animal lover. The blizzards last week that we saw in the Midwest have killed 30,000 cows, which is really sad. I know. And on top of that, health inspectors say that it may be days before George Foreman can reach the area and eat them all up. So, terribly sad. Also, I don't know if this is related to that. I guess it's not related to that story, but there is a ground beef recall. Remember a couple of months ago, there was that big recall? Well, there's another one from a plant in Nebraska. And, you know, it's funny the way American manufacturers, they are so cutthroat. They get on each other's case about these kind of things. They're trying to take advantage. Hot dog manufacturers are now referring to their product as the uncoli. All right, thanks for coming. It's all been satirized for your protection. Let us meet our panel. One of our favorite comics. He'll be at the Horizon Casino in Lake Tahoe, November 28th and 29th, and Bally's in Las Vegas, December 15th through the 25th. Louie Anderson. Louie, my old friend, how are you? He is an outspoken social critic and the author of The End of Sanity. This is a great book, Social and Cultural Madness in America. Martin Gross. Yes, sir. Hey, I've been enjoying that quite a bit. Yeah, I think you got the right idea. She's a supermodel, but she only uses her superpowers for good. The one and only Cindy Crawford. Hello, gorgeous. Thank you very much. And she is quite simply one of the biggest country music stars there ever was. Her new CD is called The Other Side. She is Wynonna. That's all right. That's about all right.
Done by Wynonna.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, first of all, you know that this is the beginning of what we call Sweeps Month as TV, when they take the ratings and everybody does something special and ridiculous and extravagant, and they get cars and boats, and I put gel in my hair. That's what I'm doing. The whole month I'm going to have gel in my hair, but we have a low budget on this show. Okay. Now, tomorrow is Halloween. Do you know what is going on across the country? There is this group called Abundant Life Christian Center in Colorado, And now in 45 states, they have hundreds of churches taking part in this thing called Hell House, which I think is a preposterous politicization of Halloween, which should be a holiday. What they do is they have these houses where kids go, and it looks like a fun house, scary stuff, but the scary stuff, you know what they have? The funeral of a homosexual AIDS patient, a teen suicide, a bloody abortion, and then refreshments.
Don't they have the real horror section, though, where they show the ministers and priests counting the money after the service?
I mean, isn't this wrong to take a holiday? A holiday, when I was a kid, this was like the funnest holiday you could ever have.
The funnest.
And make it a political thing, a bloody abortion, a funeral of an AIDS patient.
And in New Jersey, Hillsborough, they're eliminating Halloween. It's, they say it's religious, All Hallowed Saints Day.
Yeah.
They're eliminating Christmas because it's religious, and Hanukkah because it's religious. They're going to have eliminating St. Valentine's because of the saint. They're going to have Special Persons Day. and Christmas.
For what holiday is that?
It's St. Valentine's.
It's going to be Special Persons
and Hallmark
Day?
cards.
Sounds like it's for the retarded.
You can't say that either. You can't say that.
That is not.
On this show, you can say anything.
That's right.
You know, the use of euphemisms like special persons has now invaded the Scrabble. I spoke to the head of the Scrabble Association. They have an official dictionary.
But what about this? That's interesting, but what about this?
Well,
what about the Hell House?
but it's interesting to me that it's Christians.
Go,
because
Cindy.
It's like, you know, I was once in a bathroom on the side of a highway, and you're like taking a road trip. And
You were?
Yes, I do. I do pee. I do have to go to the toilet sometimes when I'm on car trips. And I walk in, I'm reading like, you know, people write up whatever nonsense they write on bathroom walls. And this one said, you know, praise the Lord for he is king and all this stuff. And someone else wrote on the bottom, what the hell is a good Christian doing writing on a bathroom wall? And it's the same. It's like these are good Christians putting on these.
Well, first of all, have you been there? You have to walk in someone's shoes to understand. Have any of us been to one? I spoke to a person
To a
today.
Hell House?
I spoke to a person today who is involved with it. My soul needs to be fed. I'm not sure exactly that I agree. I think you can agree that they're trying to feed the soul, but I maybe disagree with the way they're doing it.
Well, definitely. I mean, I think
it's
that's
important
the point.
fact is, abortion is bloody. I don't know that it can be anything but. Doesn't mean we like it or don't like it. It means it's the truth, which is hard.
But do you think it's appropriate for 6-year-old children to be taken through this thing, to be scared straight by their parents on Halloween, which is supposed to be like a thing where basically you take a pumpkin and get it filled with candy? I mean, that's what I did when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, when I was little, we used to trick or treat, but...
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, this is like trick nor treat.
But we don't live in a time anymore where we can sit around and it's just like someone said to me today, it'd be like someone having AIDS and not knowing about AIDS. I mean, we need the truth. We need to know... here I am sitting with you, you're Jewish, I'm a Christian, but it's okay, I may be Democratic and you may be Republican. I just say we need information, knowledge is power. I don't know that
But at a Halloween thing, just for fun?
library. I mean, library.
You can call me Jewish, but according to Scrabble, you can't call me Jew. Jew's been
I didn't say
eliminated
Jew.
from Scrabble. So you're not a Christian.
What is this
no, you want me
Scrabble
to-
thing he's got
You're not a
going?
Christian. You're Christian. You're Christian-ish. You're Christian-ish.
You want me to call you Saint Martin.
You
The
always...
only reason you can't use Christian in Scrabble is there's not enough letters.
No, that's not it. What happened is they got letters from people saying, don't use Welsh, don't say Gyp, don't say Jesuit. I said, why not Jesuit? They said, well, years ago it was considered intellectual manipulation to be Jesuitical. And I said, is that bad? He said, well, we've taken it out of the dictionary. So now when you play Scrabble, you can't have any offensive words.
Well, not at my house.
We need joy. We need joy.
We need
That's,
joy.
We need
6
joy and
points, isn't it?
celebration.
Joy and celebration, but you're saying that on Halloween, which is a holiday for little kiddies, they
No.
should go into a thing and see a bloody abortion?
I think we live in America because we have equal rights. That means that the church has the right to do what they want to do. Do I agree with it? Maybe not, but I say maybe it's two different subjects.
Well, let's tax that church then.
Let's do...
All right. We have to take a break. We'll be back.
You If you're planning to be in the Los Angeles area and would like free tickets to Politically Incorrect, call 213-852-2655.
All right. Now, as long as I'm mad here, this is something I read in this one. I read Cosmo every month. How many times have you been on the cover of Cosmo?
A few.
A few? More than a few?
Me, zero.
Well, that should be a badge
You
of
didn't
honor.
ask me. No.
That should be a badge of honor if you read this article, I think. It's called The Most Delicious Reader Revenge Stories. And it is basically advocating women taking revenge on men in ways that are illegal, I think.
Well,
They
are
see, women,
illegal. They are.
They are illegal. I mean, I'll read some of this. To get back at my ex-boyfriend for breaking up with me, I found an old videotape of us having sex. I sent it to his new wife and told her I was her husband's mistress. And attached a note we were to be married as soon as his divorce came through. Another one, after my guy left me for another woman, I found out they were going on a trip overseas together. I called the airline and canceled the reservation, posing as his wife.
Bill,
Let me say something real quick. I have to jump in there.
Put super glue in his driver's side door and sardines in his wheel wells.
That is mean.
If you fight with the pig, you both get dirty and the pig likes it.
Bill, women...
Think about that.
That's a good lyric. To your...
No, it's a lyric.
Well, we're talking about life now.
Women are taking revenge against men every day by getting excessively powerful, by interfering in men's work. For example, the two female referees in the NBA. Well, Charles Barkley is going to take one of them and knock her 30 feet across the floor. You know, in medical school today, 43% of the students are women, and they score 14% lower than the men.
Do you listen
and get
to any
in.
of the topics I introduced?
But he's
Are you listening to me? I'm talking about women getting revenge.
married 50
They're
years.
getting revenge by taking over the American society
But not
to
in
the
Cosmo,
death.
That's different than putting sardines in their wheel well.
Excuse me, that bores me. That bores me.
Everything bores
well.
Martin because we were standing backstage. The fact is, he's been married 50 years. Who stands behind you every day, Martin?
My wife.
Exactly.
Oh, excuse me.
So you
When it
don't take
comes-
revenge on your
No,
wife,
when it comes
ever.
to support troops, the women are the best in the world, but we don't want them out there in combat fornicating in the field in Bosnia.
Wow.
You know, he's part of that whole Hell House thing.
But we're talking about this, and I am saying there is a double standard. If men did this kind of
Right.
stuff, we would be arrested as
yeah.
criminals and stalkers.
Yes, but if women like touch their genitals in public,
But that's not what we're talking. Listen to
No,
all
I'm
these.
saying there is double standards. Of course there is. I mean, men get more upset about if their job isn't going well, and women get more upset if their relationships aren't going well. I mean, so it just goes to prove.
You
that,
reap what you sow.
yeah, I mean, you guys probably do mean things at work too.
But Cindy, it says all these things
I'm
say.
not advocating that. I'm just saying that this is Cosmo. I mean, put it in context.
All right, I will, but we have to take a break. But I will put it in context in a second. Okay, we're talking about this most delicious reader revenge stories.
Can I switch places with Cindy?
Can I?
No, I mean, because I know where you're going to go with this. You're ready to go, aren't you?
Wait.
Well, he doesn't let me say a word.
You
But-
should have heard what he said during the commercial. Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. All I'm saying is, I want you to know that most of these things, the only reason they feel they have justified to be revenge, it says to get back at my boyfriend for breaking up with me. Now, this magazine prints articles about how women can break up with guys. Isn't that everyone's basic right to be able to break up without fear?
I want to see the story where the role reversal just, you know, I usually see those and go, well, it's too bad, because I don't think of myself as the victim. I see myself as turning it into a victory. When I see those things, it just frustrates me. You know, Judd women spend so much time trying to get past our stuff, right?
But I
this
think,
stuff frustrates me.
But you know what? I think this
because-
has to do a lot with like daytime television. You see like people whose mothers stole their boyfriend or whatever, and it's because so you don't feel sorry for yourself. You go, hey, well at least that's not me.
Right.
And I think like you know Jerry Springer and shows like that, you're like, hey, my life might be messed up sometimes, but nothing like these
Cindy,
folks.
the problem...
And I think this is the same kind of
but
thing.
Cindy, all of this nonsense has to do with the feminization
Scrabble.
of society. No.
Oh.
It has to do with the feminization of society, which lowers the standards, reduces the judgment, decreases the accomplishment of society. Because
Gives
the
better
female,
care to
the female-
children, better medical.
Wait, the female is hooked on relationships, nurturing them, but they're taking over power for America in the medical colleges where they're not qualified. They're taking places in science where they're not qualified. They're referees on the thing. In the United States Army, the men at West Point take engineering, the women take public relations, language. They get the same commission. They do half the push-ups. The whole thing's an absolute female farce.
You know what? I don't think.
What about your mom? What was she like?
What about my needs?
I had a wonderful mom, but she was a mom. She wasn't, excuse me, she was not a basketball referee. She was a mom.
Well, you know,
Right, but nowadays
And she
maybe
did
mom.
a lovely job.
Lovely job.
Right, but what?
I'm so confused. I mean, what about my needs, Bill?
wasn't a
What about
doctor.
Cindy's needs?
She wasn't a doctor because she wasn't qualified to be a doctor. She was qualified to
Wait,
be a
you're
mom.
not actually saying in this day and age that women can't get the training to be as qualified. I'm
Of course
sure you're not saying
No,
that.
of course. I have a whole
Okay.
chapter on it.
Right, okay. So really what you're saying is, so
but
what are
there
you
are-
saying?
What
There
I'm
are some-
saying is that women score 14% lower on the admissions test to medical school, and the school
because
says,
boys are
excuse me,
called
the
on
school,
more
excuse me, the
classes,
school
boys are
says,
given more
No,
opportunity.
the school says we let them in with affirmative action because we want gender equity.
But they don't
That's the-
but they don't have to graduate them. And if,
Excuse me, they flunk out. No, you don't know anything about medical school. One third of 1% flunk out of med school. The licensing exam is at a sophomore level. You take the exam as long as you want, 40 times. Everybody who enters graduates, and the women who enter are mostly not qualified to be physicians. And this is true of MIT.
and they, okay, but do they graduate them? That's my
Of course
question.
they graduate them.
Well, then that's not the women's
you
fault,
shouldn't
though.
you shouldn't go to a female doctor.
You need to get out more. You need to get out more.
It's okay. It's okay.
Go, Louie.
well,
I mean, I really think he believes all this stuff.
well, you know what?
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, you're very. I mean,
Excuse me, I'm a very good researcher. And
Yeah.
Dean Lentz of the Yale Medical School told me the women get in because they have better rapport with the patients.
You know, I don't know about- I don't know
and they
about the
have
medical-
extracurricular.
Guess what?
But
That's
excuse me.
part of being a
Yeah, I
good
know, but if
physician,
you're on your
too.
back from the cancer operation, you don't care if she played the tuba in high school. You care about her medical skill, which women do not have.
Just slug 'em.
You know, Martin, let me just say, you don't make the best case for yourself, but I think sometimes.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
No, you're an author and
Actually,
you're a
Martin's
brilliant
a lovely
man.
person,
and
by
he's
the way.
a brilliant
he really
man.
is. I
Brilliant-
think
right.
he's in another generation. I'm 33.
No, I think-
You're in a different generation.
Oh, you
How
mean
do-
science has generations?
Absolutely.
Science has no generation. See, women score 40 points lower since 1924 on the SATs. 1997,
Can you sing?
40
Can you
points
sing?
lower. It's biological.
Can you sing?
Biological. Can I sing?
Yeah.
No.
Martin, what I was trying to say is, I don't think you make the best case, but in general, I agree with the idea that men and women are not equal in all things, and it's not even a good idea to think that they should be.
Exactly.
So, like in the military, I don't know
think
about
that's
medical
great,
school,
yeah.
but the military, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want women doing the men's jobs, because
Exactly.
that's too important. It's defending
And
our
you couldn't
country.
walk and be as beautiful doing what Cindy does, and you don't sing, and I'm not a comedian.
But they do, but they do have women in the military doing men's jobs that they can't do. You know, how do we know they can't do it? Because at West Point, they no longer have required engineering. The men choose engineering, the women choose French and humanities. Why? Because they can't handle the
And I
engineering.
would rather French with a woman than engineering. All right, we have to take a break.
Wait a minute.
Join us tomorrow when our guests will be Jenica Berger, Dan Cortez, Jerry Springer, and Todd Rundgren.
All right, next week we're coming to you from Washington, D.C., and this is no sweeps gimmick like the gel in my hair. Also, don't miss my big coming out episode. Now, Martin, co-ed bathrooms, refs in the NBA, those things I don't understand. You're saying we shouldn't have refs, female refs. I don't understand why women can't do that job.
If you can't conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it.
Right.
Go
in
ahead.
1938, I watched Lou Gehrig play. I've been a Yankee fan since 1938. And when I see the female sportscaster talking about Bill Dickey or...
Refs, Martin, refs.
Well, refs or sportcasters, either one. They can't stand either one. Why? Because men need some isolation.
Men need women.
I know, but they also need some isolation. They need some privacy,
Yeah, but what about
some part
all
of their
the
mind.
female fans?
What?
What about the women who are watching the same?
You're watching ABC.